Hi, this is Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio. So in recent weeks I have been making a number of masterboards. These were the two from the first week, then the two from the second week. Last week I made one, but after I stopped filming I used the mop-up pages to make a second. And I today am going to start making some projects from these. So I've got one project for you today. I have to say I've had two mistakes during this project, two bloomers. I was going to say disasters. They're not disasters in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, one I corrected fairly quickly. The other one, at the point that I'm editing this, I have still to try and rectify. So, just showing you my thumb there covered in alcohol ink that I can't get out. I was using that yesterday and it's still not out. I'm now going to take a sheet of paper, A3 paper, the paper I've been using for my masterboards, and I'm going to cut out four kind of pieces, 5 inches by 3 inches, basically the same size as my gel plate, and I'm going to be making cards from these. I'll be decorating these and then these will attach to similar sized pieces from one of my masterboards. So the masterboard in a sense will become the back of the card, and I think that's the board I'm going to use for this project. So I've cut a whole section out. This was what I was left with after gel plating the cards and sponging paint on. I did not like them at all, so decided to start again. But you know, just keeping it real, things don't always go according to plan. So just going to clean off the white paint that I'd put on the gel plate. I think I just put a quick layer of this down to lift it off, just to clear it up. Yeah, I mean I could have gone on to have used those cards, but really I wouldn't have been satisfied with them. So, you know, it's 4 small pieces of card. I will use that for, I don't know, scraps or something. I can always just paint over them. But I decided it was easier just to start again. So I've got an ultramarine blue here and a deep turquoise. Not mixing them completely together because I don't want it to be one solid colour. I want to see a bit of both. And basically I'm just using the small gel plate to get paint down onto the backs of my card, and I actually do 2 layers of this. So after getting a layer on each, I then just use the same 2 colours and get another layer on. It will just help fill in any of those little white gaps. The paper is textured on this side, and I think for that reason it doesn't always get right down into it unless you've got a really thick layer of paint on the gel print. But yeah, there I am, just kind of filling in any little gaps. So I cover all 4 cards in the same way. So once that base layer's done, I gave them a very quick dry. They're not fully dry at this stage, but I'm going to add some sepia acrylic ink, just putting some under papers down there to catch any that runs off, and there will be plenty that runs off. So a few drops on each, and then I will use some water. I'll just spray some water on it because, you know, I don't want this to be too thick, but I just want it to kind of darken the card slightly, but not necessarily all over. So I spend a few minutes at this, putting more water on. I start to dry them. I pick some of the ink up that has fallen onto the kind of pages underneath, the drop pages. So it's really just a case of moving it about, adding more water to get it to move further. Of course the paper starts to bend and therefore the ink actually goes down to the edges. So I'm trying to keep some of it in the middle, and you see there, turning it over and dabbing it on the ink underneath. So there we basically have them, each one slightly different. Paper really quite wet, especially around the edges, but that's fine. So here I have the Goddess stamp set. These were designed by Cheran from the channel Texture Junkies, and I will leave a link to her channel below, and the stamps are available from PM Artist Studio shop. They have a channel, but I'll also leave a link to their channel and to their shop below, and a discount code if you were interested. So I'm using an embossing pad here, and I'm going to use some, I think it's called gold tinsel embossing powder. Now I will say at this stage, I do not use embossing powder very often. I've used it occasionally, but you know, I am not well skilled at that, and I think this is where I went wrong. I decided I'd leave those little bits that were dotted about. You know, I didn't mind if they were going to show on the card. I was quite happy for that, in fact. So I'm basically going to do one card with each of the 4 stamps. Now I really do like these stamps. I love the designs on them. So trying to get plenty ink on, I did notice because I tend to rock stamps, I shouldn't rock them quite as much. I should just go in with flat my hand or something flat and push them down. So I was occasionally getting a little edge, but actually the edge, I'll probably point it out here because there's one on this. Yeah, so although there's that little edge, I thought, no, that's okay, I don't mind that. That's absolutely fine. So I'm just repeating the exact same process with all 4 of the stamps. Nothing different about what I do at all. Trying to get plenty of the embossing ink stuff on the pad. I wasn't sure. I've had this embossing pad for years, so you know, I wasn't actually sure if it still had a lot of juice in it or not. Now in the main, I wasn't brushing off any excess powder, but I did here because I was just giving a bit more definition to the crown. If I'd left the loose powder on, I might have lost the shape of the crown. And so on to the 4th one. And you know, I was really pleased with the way these stamped. Came out very clear, really delighted with that, and they're, you know, they're nice stamps to use. You'll see again a few stray pieces, but that was okay. Now this could be faux pas number 2, or yeah, I think this is faux pas number 2. There could be a faux pas number 3 as well resulting from this. But you know, what I'm trying to do now is to activate it. You can see that it's going nice and bright there. But I don't know if I missed some bits or if I kind of overcooked some bits. If you look down the the right hand side of the one in the top right hand corner, you'll see there's a slight darkness to it. Now I don't know if that's because I didn't activate it or if I overcooked it. The same with this one that I've just finished. You can see that kind of shadow there, and I didn't notice that to begin with. It was a little while later before I noticed it. Yet the first one seemed to turn out perfectly. So I don't know, I've either just rushed it, I'm just not sure at all. But that led to something not so good later on that I've still to sort. So I've now got a Sharpie. It's a metallic in gold, and I am just going to write some words on these because I want these to be kind of positive cards, really a kind of positive affirmation card, and I just wanted them to have one word each. And looking at that card now, I can definitely see that darker bit in there, and that is a shame because it has gone on to spoil it. It wouldn't have if I'd left it like that, but you'll see in a minute what I'm saying. So I wrote love, I wrote joy, I wrote hope, and on this last one I will write peace. And I was writing them on and then just going over the top of them once more, just to kind of thicken it up and even it up a bit. Well, I'm having a day of it clearly because I've missed a bit of the filming. I must have forgotten to switch on, and then when I've thought I was switching off, it switched it on. Basically, I added a stencil with a plus sign because I thought a positive sign was good. Anyway, I just applied some gold paint through that stencil with the kind of plus signs on it. So I'm now looking at my masterboard, and I'm just going to cut a piece from each side to get my 4 cards that I need. I'm just cutting these the same size as the cards that I've been working on, so you don't really need to see me doing this. So once I have them all cut, I am going to glue the backs and the fronts together. So the masterboard, in a sense, will become the back of the card, and the decorated part the front of the card. So I've still got some of the glue that I mixed up last week. I just kept a bit of cling film over the top of it, and that has stopped it from hardening up. So this was just a mix of PVA and water. The water really just to loosen it up a bit because it was quite thick. So what I do is I put some glue on one side, some glue on the other, and then just carefully put them together. And I was trying so carefully not to get any glue on them, really being careful. The benefit of the glue I was using was that if it moved at all, I was able to just kind of push the 2 pieces back in place and just, going over the top, leaning on the top with that old book page. And I was quite happy with that. So I do that with all of them. So once that was done, I decided just to round the corners. I've got 2 sizes of punch. One is small, one is large. I think the large one is a bit buckled and doesn't actually do very well. So I've just used a small corner rounder. I think it just kind of finishes them off a little bit. Now really I could have left them at that, but no, I had to go on and do something else. And what I go on to do, some people wouldn't have liked even if it had worked, but yeah, it definitely caused a bit of a problem. Oh, just before that though, I bought some of the glue that so many people seem to have. I bought the extra fine cap to go on the top of it that has the pin. I won't buy it again probably because although it seems to work well, it's very expensive. So at this point I decided to get out some gloss medium. I swithered between using a gloss medium and a gloss varnish. I've just testing it out in these 2 little pieces of card. Now, acrylic paint can sometimes dry quite dull, quite flat, compared to oil paint, which is much more vibrant. And I just loved the colours on this card, and I just wanted them to kind of, pop out a little bit more. Can't really see it on the little cards just now because it's not yet dry, and it does go on a kind of milky colour. But I decided I'm going to do all the backs, and I got on and did that. I actually gave them 2 coats, and I think it's turned out really well. It doesn't come out too glossy, so it's not that you're getting a lot of glare on it. I know a lot of people don't like the gloss. It's not that you're getting a lot of glare on it, but it has kind of enhanced the colours. But this is where things started to go wrong. I'd already tried one card and it worked fine, and it was really bringing up the background nicely. And I really should have tried this on a scrap piece first of all, but I decided I would just go right over the glitter glue, not the glitter glue, the embossing glitter and everything. And that one, so far so good. I came on to this one. Oh yeah, so I had 2 that actually turned out okay, I think. Right, I went back to my work table to have another look. This one had gaps in it, this one had gaps in it, and this one had gaps in it. So I had to think about what I might do. I think you can get pens that have the kind of embossing ink in them. I don't have one. So I had to think about, do I just leave them as is, or do I try and fix them? So I took this kind of little wedge brush thing. It's not a brush, it's just a kind of plastic or rubber wedge on the end, and put that onto the pad, and then just tried to complete what was there, so complete the stamp and the bit that was missing. To be honest, I didn't hold out a lot of hope for it, but nothing ventured and all that stuff, and I thought that's actually okay. So I thought, right, I will go round each of the 3 cards where there's bits missing. This one was just a little bit in the kind of heart shape up the top. So again, did that. I'd swithered about going in with maybe a gold pen or something, just wiping away some excess there, gold pen or something, but it just would have looked entirely different. Now this one was a bit more challenging because there was a bit more missing from it. I'd lost a significant part of the arm, part of the body where the arm attached, and then a little bit of the kind of main body. So I don't know if this just didn't stick well to the acrylic paint underneath, or if the ink had something to do with it, if I didn't heat it right through, or if in fact I did overheat it at times. If you've got any thoughts, then please do let me know. I'll go on in a minute just to heat set that. To me, I can still see little bits of the kind of shadow through it, so I'm just not entirely certain about them. I'm slightly concerned that more might come off it. I was going to send these out, but I'm slightly concerned some more might come off it. So I'm thinking now about remaking some, but rather than using the glitter powder, I would just put perhaps gold paint on the stamp. I think I've got a gold ink pad somewhere, but I think it got pretty grubby with other things, and I don't think I could get anything quite as bright as that kind of glitter gold embossing powder. So there I am, just going over these, and I think they turn out okay. I love the cards. I actually think the cards are really good. I love both sides of them. It's just a little bit disappointing that kind of happened, albeit I think I managed to save them. But as I say, I'd be a little bit uncertain about putting them out to anybody, and in fact more peeling off, just trying to flick away a couple of little bits there. So I decided not to go over again with the gloss medium. We'll just leave them as is, but there was one more thing I wanted to do, and that was, I'm just showing you there the stencil that I used. I'm not sure who that was from. I had it a good few years. So I just wanted to use some gold paint and go along the edge. I did try it with the Sharpie just to see how that would do, but I didn't feel it was kind of significant enough. So I like to edge things in gold, and I just used that little tool again to do so. I didn't want it to be too thick because I'd like them to dry pretty quickly, and when you put paint on like this, it always does take just a little while to dry, and it did take me a little while to go round and put the paint on, but that's okay. And it just hides that external edge, especially if there's any difference in the sizes at all. So I liked the way that looked. There, it's completely done, and in a moment I will show you the 4 finished pieces. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on why that didn't work, then please do let me know. Obviously I've used these stamps because I have them, I love them, but this is something that could be done with any sort of stamps, making cards like this, calling them, it could be positive affirmation cards, it could be goddess cards, doesn't matter what they're called. It's a fun project, and these were made with love. So yeah. So joy, love, hope and peace. So please take care everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.